You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, Giants fans? And welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And today, one of the weirdest walk-offs I have ever seen. The Giants win as Mikey Yaz blasts one to triple alley. Margot dives and can't get it. Then, after Yaz is already standing on third, the Twins throw it away into the Giants dugout, and Yaz scores on the error to walk it off. What a wild one out at Oracle Park. All of this comes on the heels of a Blake Snell perfect game bid that was broken up in the seventh, and more drama in the top of the ninth as Camilo Doval completely broke down and allowed the Twins to tie it up before the Yaz heroics. There's just so much to get into from today's game. We'll break it all down, but first I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaswick does a great job. This episode of the Locked On Giants Postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Man, so much to get into. This was Blake Snell's best outing as a Giant, and it is not close, man. This dude went 7 innings. The perfect game bid was broken up in the top of the 7th. Dude finishes that frame, no problem. Immediately after that base hit, just gets a casual double play right there to get out of it. No walks also for Blake Snell, which for a guy who was having really, really hard time with his control issues, that's amazing to see. 8 strikeouts on the day, 7 innings pitched. We'll break down Blake Snell's day in totality a little bit later on, but man, we got to get right to the meat and potatoes of this game, which was the 9th inning. The Giants were cruising, seemed to be on their way to another win. The 7-7 scoreless from Snell, and then Rogers comes in, has a great clean inning, and then in comes Doval. And we've all seen what Doval's done this year, and it's not been what he's done in years past. He's been up and down. He's blown some saves, blew another one today. He does pick up the win because Mike Yastrzemski bailed him out, but man, Camilo Doval comes in, walks a guy, gives up a couple of doubles, and immediately puts the Giants in a hole. He loaded that, or not loaded the bases, but put runners on second and third with just that 2-0 lead and nobody out in the top of the 9th. Then gives up a double to Margot, who ended up being the guy who kind of cost the Twins in this one. And the Giants look to be reeling there. Great move by Bob Melvin and this coaching staff, who's been criticized a lot by Giants fans for some of his decisions this year. He immediately got Ryan Walker up in that bullpen throwing and got him ready, because when Camilo, right before we saw the Doval implosion, I mean, I think that this team has a pretty good pulse. Bob Melvin and Brian Price have a pretty good pulse on this pitching staff, and I think that they saw that Doval just didn't have it today. I think they saw he was breaking down, and it just did not look good from Doval. He was not able to locate very well, and they pulled him out for Ryan Walker. Great decision, because Ryan Walker then gets the next 2 outs, gets out of the inning, even with inheriting that run on second base, that runner on second base. No problem for Walker. Gets out of that inning with no extra damage done, keeps the game tied, which allows Mike Yastrzemski in the 9th inning, in the bottom of the 9th, comes up, and Yaz, the leadoff hitter of the inning, on the 4th pitch of the at-bat, lifts one to right center field. Didn't really get into it, didn't get all of it, we got under it a little bit, and Margot had a play on it, man. He had a beat on it, and he just was a half step too slow, if that. He dove, extended all the way for that ball, but missed it, and you cannot make that kind of a play in that situation. You got to do what you can to, 1, keep that runner from getting to third, and 2, definitely not let that ball get by you. So Margot sells out for it, can't get to that ball, and Mike just keeps on running. And Mikey Yaz had a really nice day today. 3 hits for Mikey Yaz, 3 for 3 at the dish. His batting average, don't look now, over 240, and the OPS is sitting at 752. For a guy who, Giants fans dump on a lot for not being a great hitter, dude hasn't been too bad this season. And I know, especially for like a 7, 8, or 9 spot in the batting order. Mike Yastrzemski never going to be one of those guys for the Giants that's batting in the middle of the lineup, at least, in winning seasons. We've seen what happens when the Giants have to bat as like third or fourth. It's not very many good things, but the dude has a plus arm in right field, a great glove out there, and he really is a big part of why the Giants won this one today. This was just such a great outing for Mike Yastrzemski. The rest of the Giants offense did kind of leave something to be desired. They picked up 8 hits, but only 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position, left 7 on base in this one, had a couple opportunities to get some insurance runs, which could have helped out Camilo Doval there in the 9th inning, but the Giants end up getting out of this one anyways. And Doval, man, we got to talk about it. It's a problem at this point. Camilo is not looking like himself. I mean, I am one of Doval's all-time biggest fans. I love this dude. He's one of my favorite Giants to watch, has been the bright spot of this team for the last couple seasons when there weren't too many bright spots on this Giants team. But we got to call it how it is. And at this point, dude has looked pretty shaky all year long. I mean, he's had moments where he's looked dominant, and he's had moments where he then reverts back to this. And after he has his dominant stretches, which don't last as long as they used to, he seems to be having these speed bumps, these hiccups more and more often as the season goes on. And it's starting to concern me, man. I still do have faith in the back end of this bullpen. I've repeated this over and over and over again on this show. And I think Doval is still someone who can regain his dominant form. He has the potential to be one of the best, if not the best closer in this game. His stuff, some of the best in all of baseball. If he can locate it, he is fine. I'm curious as to why he can't locate things right now. He's had a problem with his location for a while, and it comes and goes. We'll see him even on nights when he's locating things really well. He'll have 1 or 2 that just get away from him in our non-competitive pitches. He's been having a lot of those non-competitive pitches lately, and that's a problem. This pitching staff has got to get with Doval and get him right, because he's a huge part to this Giants success if they're going to have a successful second half to this season. The Giants, with the win, wrap up the unofficial, we'll say, first half in air quotes. I mean, it's what everyone refers to before the All-Star break as, but the Giants have nearly played 100 games, 47-50 at the All-Star break in the first half, air quotes, of this MLB season, and they're poised to make a run. I know that this team has had its issues. It has not been smooth sailing for the Giants this year so far. The pitching staff has been inconsistent. The offense has been inconsistent. The bullpen has been inconsistent. Not really. We're going to give the bullpen a little bit of a pass on this one with how much they've been used. I think any bullpen in baseball, when they're used this much, is going to be a little inconsistent. So the Giants have had a really tough go of it so far. And part of the inconsistency, man, this is just another log on the fire of inconsistency for the Giants. I mean, Doval does not look like himself. I'm curious. I'm not trying to make excuses for the guy, but I am curious if there's an injury there. I mean, the Giants have had so many pitchers go down this year with injuries. It's not. I don't think it's too far fetched to think Doval might be dealing with something. Maybe he's just losing control and maybe he's just losing it. Maybe it's all in his head. They got the nice All-Star break, nice couple days for him to get right, take a break. He's not on the team. He's not going to be pitching over these next couple days. He can take a nice little break, get away from the team, maybe reset his head. Maybe that's all Tranquilo Camilo needs is just a little break and a mental reset. I mean, who knows what the solution is for this guy right now, but the Giants got to figure it out on the back end of this bullpen. This win is a nice win. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of implications from this win. Farhan had even cited saying if this team is sliding going into the All-Star break, they might look to sell by the deadline. This win, it doesn't mean that the Giants aren't sliding, but it means that they aren't just completely out of it, and one win in July doesn't make a difference whether or not the Giants are going to be in or out of the wild card race at the end of this season. But it changes kind of how you're feeling about this team going into the break. You win this series against a really competitive team, and you conclude this stretch of facing it was just a gauntlet that the Giants had in the month of July so far, leading up to this All-Star break in the end of June, where they've played like the Dodgers, the Braves, the Twins, the Guardians, a bunch of really, really, really good teams. And they've kind of treaded water through this period of time, waiting for their starting pitching to get back. No, they are not setting the world on fire, but today was a sign of things to come with Blake Snell on the mound. But the Giants definitely do need to figure out this back end of the bullpen, and they do have some options. You got Reggie Crawford down in AAA, who has been really, really good. He's got I mean, I'm not going to say Camilo Doval level stuff, but this guy throws gas and he has a cutter that is crazy. You got Randy Rodriguez up with the big league club who was closing games down in AAA before. Obviously, you got Ryan Walker and Tyler Rogers who both have closed games at different points in time for the Giants this year. So you got a lot of options if you do indeed need to, pull the e-brake and pull the emergency parachute with Doval and you need to hit the eject button. You have options. You don't need to immediately move off this guy. I know a lot of people have clamored for Doval to be traded. I don't think that's the direction you need to go. I think that the Giants need to give him a little bit more time to try and figure this out before we get into the middle of August, the end of August into September. He's got some time. He's got about we're about a month away from the middle of August. If I want to see how he handles the All-Star break and coming back from that, and maybe in about a month, if he still looks like this, we are probably going to have to then have the discussion of what do the Giants do at the back end of games. So today, though, Mike Yastrzemski completely bails out Camilo Doval. This offense left some opportunities on the table for sure, but having Lamont Wade Jr. back in this lineup was really nice today. He was a big part of this one as well. Mike Yastrzemski delivers big time for the Giants. Pat Bailey came up with a huge RBI single in this one that ended up being a big time RBI. And Blake Snell, which we're going to get into next, dude looked awesome. Snellzilla is back. We're going to get into it on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. This episode of the Locked On Giants postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you've always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about your rival cities. With hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay even in your baseball rival city. Oracle Park is the best stadium in all of baseball, in all of sports, in my opinion. But sometimes you got to check out some other parks to remind yourselves how perfect Giants home field really is. I mean, Oracle Park is spectacular. Coors Field in Denver is pretty nice this time of year. So is Petco down in San Diego. They are, infested with Rockies and Padres fans, but still some pretty nice things to go do in those cities and just get out there and have fun, man. It's a beautiful time of the year to get out and do some traveling. They got the Dodger Stadium down there in LA, plenty to do in LA. I mean, you guys know how I feel about Dodger Stadium, but the Giants do play down there right after the All-Star break. So if you're trying to go down, see some Giants-Dodgers rivalries going on, then maybe venture down to Dodger Stadium in LA. Maybe just be careful down there. From hotels that overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. The right state can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com, on the Booking site, or in the Booking.com app. And today's show is also brought to you by SupplyHouse. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades. SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands. Get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and talk to a real person every time. I love that. I hate these robot automated answering machines, man. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining the SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Did I mention it's free? Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today, man, the Giants with a nice win, honestly, against the Twins. Had a lot of high drama in this one, man. Blake Snell had a perfect game going before it got broken up in the seventh. Camilo Doval blows up in the ninth inning. Mike Yastrzemski scores on a walk-off on a play where the Twins, when Mike's already standing at third and there's no play to be made at third base, the Twins just airmail a ball into the Giants dugout, whip it over to third anyways. And and Mike Yastrzemski scores. This is why your little league coaches, for all you guys who got kids out there, this is why you ingrain it in your kids' heads to stop throwing the damn ball around when there's chaos happening. Hold that ball, run at the dude, and don't make any more errors. Don't compound the issue. The Twins forgot one of the first rules of Little League and just made that issue way worse than it would have been for them by one, diving for that ball in the outfield that got by Margot, that allowed Mike just to run all the way around the bases, and two, throwing that way late throw into third base, into the Giants dugout for absolutely no reason on a play that they were not able to make. It was not close. Yaz had a stand-up triple, and the ball comes sailing into third anyways, just airmails into the dugout. Just one of the weirdest ways I've ever seen a team end a game, one of the weirdest walk-offs I have ever seen. And this has been really an interesting series, interesting stretch of games for the Giants. They've been competitive in each and every one of these games. Even games that they've lost have been pretty close, with the exception of that one like blowout loss to the Blue Jays. I mean, stretching back to even the series against the Dodgers and the Braves, like those were all really close games too. The Giants have been playing tough teams really competitively, and that's a good sign going into the second half. And so is Blake Snell's dominance. We have all heard all of the things that everyone's been saying about Snell, about the Farhan Zaidi free agent class of 2024, and just those words alone seem to make Giants fans just immediately their heads explode because they're so mad about Farhan still. And man, we all got to take a collective deep breath. We got to stop analyzing contracts before we're even halfway done with them. I mean, yes, this is a very long, air quotes, first half of the baseball season, but the Giants still have more than 60 games left this season. If you're sitting there judging Blake Snell on his totality of his contract based on the first half of his performance in this season, that makes no sense, man. They are not paying this guy to pitch half of a year. And I know that's kind of the best situation that we can hope for now, is that Blake Snell does be Blake Snell for half the year, and then the Giants kind of are paying him to only pitch half the season because he didn't really do much in the first half. But point being, this guy's still got time to turn the season around. No, he's not going to win the National League Cy Young this year for the San Francisco Giants. But good news, Giants fans, Logan Webb is an all-star and is probably going to continue to eat innings in the second half. And I think he's built to last in the second half a little bit longer than some of these other pitchers in contention for the NL Cy Young. Logan Webb is your guy to hang your hat on. He's the ace of this staff. That's not what Blake Snell needed to be. Blake Snell needed to come in here and be a guy who can give you 5 or 6 innings and turn it over to the bullpen and just blank other teams in those first couple innings. That's who he's been all season long. Let's go through some of what Blake Snell did today and compare it to what he did last year. This guy who won the National League Cy Young last year. Today, Blake Snell, 7 innings pitched, only 1 hit, no walks, 8 strikeouts. That is absurd. Dude lowered his ERA by more than a full point today. He came into this game with a 7.85 ERA. Now his ERA sits at 6.31, a full point and a half difference. I mean, this guy's going to get better and better and better every single start. This is, even stacked up against any of his starts from last season, this start is just as good as any one that he had from last year. He only had 3 games all of last season where he won the NL Cy Young, where he pitched 7 innings. That is also the most innings in any single game he pitched last year. Blake Snell also only gave up 1 hit in today's game. In every single game that he pitched last year where he went 7 innings, and all 3 of them gave up more than 3 hits. So you could make the case that this was Blake Snell's single best start in the last 2 seasons, including the one where he won the NL Cy Young. This is a sign of what's to come for Blake Snell. This is great news for the Giants, who have just desperately needed some help to come for this starting pitching staff. I mean, we don't got to go through the injuries again, man. I mean, we all know I almost said Robbie Snell, Robbie Ray, Blake Snell. I mean, Keaton Wynn, Alex Cobb, Tristan Beck, like so many dudes. Kyle Harrison was on the shelf for a while. There have been so many Giants pitchers that have been hurt this year. We just named 6 guys. That's a whole starting pitching staff plus 1. So the Giants have been really reeling at the pitching staff this year. We got down to a point where they only had 2 healthy starting pitchers, and they've even kicked tires on guys like Mason Black and other, Spencer Howard, Spencer Bivens. We've had all sorts of random Spencers starting games for the Giants this year. And it's been a tough go, and to see Blake Snell come back and pitch the way he did today, this whole week in his prior start too, he was phenomenal. Then you add in what Harrison's done, what Birdsong has done since Harrison's come back from injury and since Birdsong has been called up. This starting five now looks whole. And when you're able to, who's the worst guy in the starting five of Logan Webb, Blake Snell, Kyle Harrison, Hayden Birdsong, and Jordan Hicks right now? It's Jordan Hicks of those five. If we're talking about right now in this moment, the guy who's struggling the most is Jordan Hicks. And if that's your number 5 starter going forward, the Giants' second half will look entirely different than the first half. Blake Snell, let's just talk about some of what we saw from him today. He got up to 97, almost 98 miles an hour. The fastball looked really, really good. And the Twins are one of the best fastball hitting teams in all of baseball. So Snell getting work done with the fastball against a team that is looking fastball tells you it's strength on strength, and dude is beating them. He's back to who he used to be. 17 swings and misses for Blake Snell on the day. He was unhittable. This is who the Giants thought that they were signing in the offseason. By the way, did you see the camera shot of Snell in the dugout looking through his, every player's got a little binder with their name on it where they have things that they got to look for and work on, that, notes about the other team, things that are specifically tailored to them for each game. And Snell's binder literally says Snellzilla on the front of it in ginormous letters, with the camera in the NBC Sports Bay Area broadcast caught that one today. That was pretty, I thought that was kind of funny. So Blake Snell, dude, just looked awesome today. And we should have seen this coming. You remember that interview that he had a couple days ago with Kruk and Kipe when he was on his off day, just sitting in the dugout? Dude was so calm, collected, chill. He was asking Kruk and Kipe questions in the interview. So he's obviously settling in, feeling more comfortable. He looks like he's found a rhythm. He really does, and that's something that he didn't see from Blake Snell all year long. We've seen him just look out of sorts, and today that was not the case, man. He looked like he was back to form, and this is such a good sign for the Giants. You also got Robbie Ray, as we said, and Alex Cobb waiting to come back. Robbie Ray is going to make another start at A San Jose. He should be playing right now. I'm actually not sure what time the San Jose Giants start today, but he should be pitching now or very soon down in San Jose. He's expected to throw about 65 to 75 pitches. It'll be his 9th rehab game, his 8th start. He's appeared in 4 games at the ACL level, 2 in AAA, and this is his 3rd start in A San Jose. So, and Alex Cobb is also slated to make his next rehab appearance tomorrow. So the Giants, we're building, we're getting there. And just if there's one thing that you can take away from today, other than the Giants have something to build on for the second half, it's that we all need to take a collective deep breath and not analyze free agents based on half or less of their playing time in the totality of their contract. We still got Soler for a little while. We still got Chapman for a little while. We still got Hicks for a little while. Still got Snell potentially for next year as well if he comes back on that player options. Chapman's kind of in the same boat. I don't think you can judge these guys on the first half of their contracts with new teams. Takes guys a minute to get adjusted. I'm not going to sit here and say Farhan's, a great GM or anything like that. Dude has had a very mixed bag as the general manager for the Giants. A lot of really not great moves. A lot of, like AJ Pollock. Oh my God, that drove me insane. Not trading JD Davis and Alex Cobb at the deadline last year. That drove me insane. Chris Bryant not being able to do anything with that guy while he was here after you gave up a bunch for him. That drove me insane. There's a lot of moves that Farhan has made that have not sit well with me. This is not one of them. You need to let guys play out their contracts, show you who they are, and then you can make a judgment call. If you want to just dunk on the guy for doing nothing at the deadline last year except for going and getting AJ freaking Pollock, man, that's fine. If you want to complain about that and bitch and moan, that's okay. Don't do it about a guy going out and getting last year's NL Cy Young Award winner. You can't tell me that virtually every single team in baseball would, this guy would have been fine with any team in baseball. You can't tell me that none of these teams wanted to sign him and the Giants were the only one who were going to pay him this much. That's false. Any team in baseball would have been happy to have last year's National League Cy Young Award winner on their squad. And everyone just needs to take a deep breath and calm the blank down, because we still got 60 plus games left in this season. The Giants still have a chance to make a run at this wild card with the expanded playoffs. And yes, they are below 500, 47-50. We're not going to sit here and celebrate that. But there's a lot to look into. If you're just looking at the record and making a judgment call, that's pretty basic analysis. Look at it. Look at the whole body of work. Look at what they've had to deal with. Look at the obstacles and look at where this team is headed. They are headed in a great direction. They have a lot of youth. This is something that this team has not had in what feels like years. They have direction for the first time. Like, we should be happy about this. You have a plethora of young starting pitchers who all look like they're pretty dang good. You got Elliot Ramos, who's making his all-star appearance in like he's only been here since May. Like, yeah, he did have a cup of coffee a couple other times when he got brought up, but this is his first real extended stay with the San Francisco Giants big league club, and he's an all-star. The Giants have direction for the first time. You got Wisely, you got Bailey, you got all these pieces to build on. I think it's time that we start maybe looking at that and stop being so damn negative all the time. Yes, we want to win. Yes, we want to get back to the playoffs. That is the expectation for the San Francisco Giants. Not even getting back to the playoffs. The expectation for this franchise is to compete for a World Series, to build for that and compete for that. That's what this organization has proven that they are capable of doing. That's the direction this team is headed. They're not going to win it this year. They're far too young. They're way too far away on pieces that they need to be able to contend for a World Series. But are they able to contend for a playoff spot? Absolutely. Could they surprise some people in the playoffs, maybe win a series or two? With this pitching staff, I think that's possible. So you just get in, just get the experience of the playoff race this year, see what happens next season. This team's got a lot to build on, and Blake Snell is a huge, huge piece of that equation. We got to take a quick break here, wrap up the show on the other side. I'm just so happy to see Blake Snell come out and prove who he is and show Giants fans what he can actually do for the first time this season. Yes, he had a good start his last time out. That was a very solid start, but this is a Cy Young level start. This is what Blake Snell can give you on any day of the week. We got to take a quick break. Let's all hope that Blake Snell is going to replicate this performance numerous times in the second half, which he's totally capable of doing. But we got to take a quick break here on the Locked On Giants postcast. We'll wrap up the show on the other side. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch, with killer last-minute deals and all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes all the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I love the last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, whatever you're into, man. They got it. Zone deals are pretty sweet, too. If you know you want to go see the Giants, you know you want to sit in a specific part of the yard. Like maybe you want to get out there with the family, go sit in club section, have a nice day out there. Or maybe you're going to go with the homies and sit out in the bleachers and get rowdy, have a few brews. You just choose a section, let Game Time choose the seats, save even more money. And of course, you got to love the all-in pricing. Make sure to toggle this feature on to show the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. I hate surprise fees, so this sounds great to me. Take all the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. The Giants pull out a 3-2 win over the Twins with so much high drama in today's game, man. I mean, the Doval inning, I mean, this is going to be something I think we talk about for a while. Is Camilo Doval the closer for the Giants down the stretch of this season? I think we got to start asking the question at least. I mean, up till now, he's been shaky, but serviceable. But the shakiness seems to be happening more and more and more frequently. The speed bumps. I mean, if you were like, you know, determining which street this is, it feels like we're driving down Terraval in San Francisco like 2 weeks ago when that whole thing was still just shredded up. And if you guys live in the city, you know what I'm talking about. That street has been under construction for what feels like 6 years now. And that's kind of what it feels like Camilo Doval's season has been. Like all those speed bumps, like this road isn't complete, man. You got sections missing. So every now and again, you'll get a nail in the tire. That's what this Camilo Doval experience has felt like this year so far. And man, he's got to turn it around. I think they need to give him some leeway in the second half of the season, but if it gets into middle of August, late August, early September, and we're still seeing this from Doval, I think you got to figure out what the other option is. I don't think you should trade him. I really don't, because your return for him based on what he's done this season is not going to be as high as what his potential value to this club could be. I think Camilo Doval is a lot better for the Giants when he's on the Giants than not. So if we're looking for guys in the bullpen to send out of here, I think you all know who that guy is on my list, Mr. Luke Jackson. So Camilo Doval, I need you to figure it out, my guy. Really need you to figure it out. He does get the win today as the Giants pick up the win on the Mike Yastrzemski walk-off home run, which, I mean, so much drama, man. The Mike Yastrzemski, it wasn't a home run. It was a triple with an errant throw into the third base dugout that allowed him to take an extra base and score the winning run, which is a mouthful to say, but man, was that a weird walk-off. Super, super, super entertaining game, man. This one went by quick, and I had a great time watching Snell on the mound. Had a good time watching the Giants battle back. Had a great time watching Mike Yastrzemski pick up 3 hits, man. It was a great Giants win today. 3 games under 500 at the break. Not a great first half of the season for the Giants, but definitely something to build on going forward with a series win against the Twins, and the Giants are back to win in rubber matches. So that's also a good thing too. We'll see how they fare against the Rockies. We'll miss you guys on the show. Going to take a quick break. We'll be gone over the All-Star break. We'll be coming back to you live as the Giants take on the Rockies in their first series after the All-Star break. I'm trying to go backpacking, man. See where the winds might take me. I'll let you guys know what I end up doing over the break on the next show when we come back. Thanks all the time. Thanks. Wow. I just that was bad. Trying to make words, and I've passed the 30-minute mark, so the words aren't wording the way I want them to. That's all the time we got for you guys today. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. This has been the Locked On Giants Postcast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.